Although recently, I think the Xiaomi SU7 Ultra has been extremely popular, but if money is no object for you and you are truly passionate about cars, I believe this brand is even more worth your consideration. Why is that? Because it's Lotus, the British brand. Its founder, Colin Chapman, how should I put it? He's a legend, and the philosophy he advocated continues to influence the automotive industry to this day. For example, he was the first to propose that a car shouldn't just have horsepower. What's even more important is lightweight design and aerodynamics. With these two strengths, even a car with a small engine can outperform those with much more power. That's how this philosophy was born. Later on, it influenced things like the reforms in F1 and even the rise of the AE86. Also, cars like the Daihatsu Copan and Mazda's MX-5 were all developed based on this philosophy. So both Colin Chapman himself and the brand he created, Lotus, really took the concept of cars, especially performance cars, and elevated their theoretical foundation to a whole new level. Aside from the brand and the theoretical aspects, what do I personally recommend most about this car? Is their understanding of cars. What exactly is this understanding? First, if you look at the exterior, it's absolutely original. There are no tributes to other designs, no unnecessary elements, and its design is entirely performance-oriented. Why do I say that? Just look at the front end of the Fanhua. There are a lot of aerodynamic components. Why is it called Fanhua Blossom? It's because of the design of the front air intake on this car. Right now, it's in the open position, just like a flower in bloom. But when cooling isn't needed, this part closes up. It's completely sealed, just like a flower closing its petals. So this process looks really beautiful. Also, if you look here, even though there are so many openings, at least the vehicle's cooling and the brake cooling are two separate systems. Additionally, you can see here, these openings are also designed to reduce the pressure inside the wheel well, which in turn lowers air resistance. Large brake discs and multi-piston calipers are paired with what? Front 265, rear 305, and 21-inch wheels. What do I like most about this? My favorite is this rear wing. This rear wing is really impressive. So what makes this rear wing so impressive? It has 4 adjustable settings, and especially on the track, it can automatically lift to an even steeper angle, providing over 210 kilograms of additional downforce. And what else? Well, this car is equipped with rear wheel steering, which helps reduce the turning radius at low speeds. At high speeds, it works in a sort of wedge-shaped mode, so even though the car is 5.1 meters long, with rear wheel steering, it effectively handles like a 4.7 meter car. This makes it much more agile on the highway. What else? This car also features an active anti-roll bar system. The anti-roll bar can, especially during sharp turns, help maintain the car's stability and prevent excessive body roll. It also helps ensure the tires maintain their grip on the road. So this active anti-roll bar system allows you to drive comfortably under normal conditions, but when you're on a racetrack or mountain road, it keeps the car very stable. Of course, I think the technological appeal of this car isn't just about its performance. What else? The overall interior design of this car is also very attractive. Let's go inside and take a look. Once you sit in the car, the overall atmosphere gives you a sense of elegance. The color scheme is very cohesive, with gray and black tones paired with extensive use of Alcantara materials. It creates a very, very classic sports car vibe for you. And what else? It feels like a high-end sports car. Why is that? It's all carbon fiber. Now, I want to mention something interesting about this car. Although I think its infotainment system isn't as user-friendly as Xiaomi's, and the voice recognition speed is just average, there are still some features that really impress me. For example, take a look at this. For example, when you open its sunroof controls, this car has a panoramic sunroof, but in addition to the standard transparent and light filtering modes, which you can adjust. Right now, we're in the shading mode, kind of like the variable tint glass you see on airplanes. But look, in this mode, I can actually adjust different sections separately. Take a look at our roof. The light transmission is different in each area. This car's sunroof really stands out in this way. It has 10 channels. What does 10 channels mean? It means there are 10 sections where you can adjust the light transmission separately. So on the roof, you can create this kind of diamond-shaped pattern. Doesn't this kind of design look really high-end? Let's talk about the back now. When you sit in the rear seats, you're immediately separated by a partition. The model we're testing today is the 900 Executive Edition, which is the R+ version. So you could say that it is the Emeya, the top-of-the-line model, is already priced at around 1 million. So this model is arranged with 4 seats, but once you sit inside, you'll find that this seat design is probably your favorite. Why? Because it provides you with a lot of emotional value. In the center of the partition, there's a very handy control screen. Take a look. Once you open it, it's at a really good angle. And what else can you control here? For example, the opening and closing of the right door, then the adjustment of the right seat, the front passenger seat adjustment, and even brightness and volume. All of these can be adjusted with just one touch. If you're feeling tired, well, just put it down. Here, there's a small armrest box. Although it doesn't have a refrigerator function, you can use it to charge your devices. If you enjoy drinking. You can even keep a good bottle of wine here to share with friends. So, what do you think? Doesn't this really take the atmosphere to the next level? Today we're taking this Fanhua 900R Plus version for a drive. This is also the top-of-the-line executive model. The feeling it gives me reminds me of when I drove the Evora 430 at Goodwood back in the day. At that time, that car made me feel like it really understood cars, and it was especially comfortable. But at the same time, when you drive it, it still has that toughness of a sports car. The hardest thing to tune is exactly this, to retain the characteristics of a sports car. But at the same time, it can also give you the comfort and luxury of a high-end car. That's extremely difficult to achieve. In other words, you want it all, and somehow it delivers. How does it manage to do that? I think that's what makes Lotus truly remarkable. What's remarkable about it is this. Now, vehicle control isn't just about the steering wheel, accelerator, brakes, and gear shift. It also includes things like the active anti-roll bar and rear wheel steering, and of course, the active rear wing at the back. So, this Lotus has really broadened my understanding of what NIO cars can be. In other words, your control interface is no longer limited to just the four surfaces controlled by your 2 hands and 2 feet. It becomes something more.
So why do I recommend this car more? It's because this car truly brings NIO's vision into reality. You'll notice that future cars, they will definitely be co-driven by humans and machines. Of course, when it comes to performance, we have to talk about this car. Its horsepower, well, its maximum power is 675 kilowatts, which, when converted, is basically just over 910 horsepower. Its torque is really impressive. The torque of this car can reach 985 Newton meters. We always talk about 985, right? So when you actually look at this car, its tuning, its power, and its responsiveness are truly remarkable. Another thing that's really impressive is the brakes on this car. I especially like the pedal feel. It's the classic Lotus tuning, or you could say the typical European style. The initial travel is very, very tight, so as soon as you tap the brake, you get a strong braking force. The more you press, the more confident you feel. That's its signature style. But at the same time, what else does it manage to do? Even though there's a slight squeaking sound at the very end, but it manages to strike a balance between noise and braking performance. So that's another aspect I really like about its driving dynamics. But the most important thing is still the cornering. You'll notice it feels very agile and responsive, and the rear wheel steering plays a huge role in that. The instructor mentioned before that this car is over 5.1 meters long, but thanks to the rear wheel steering, especially when changing lanes at high speeds, it can virtually make your car's length feel as nimble as a 4.7 meter car. That's something I find really impressive. So overall, after driving this car, you'll find that it's very fast, whether you're going straight or taking corners. But there's one thing I want to remind everyone about with high horsepower cars. If you want to do this if you want to really floor it, to do something especially aggressive, you must check the tire pressure and the tread wear on your tires. Even a slight deviation can easily cause issues like torque steer, or the car pulling to one side, or even power-induced hopping. So you really need to pay attention to this. I hope that in the future there will be more brands like Lotus that have such a deep understanding of cars. It would be great if there were more brands that could create products that make consumers fall in love with them as soon as they drive them. Only then can our car culture truly flourish and blossom. That wraps up everything about our experience with the Emeya today. Thank you for watching. If you love driving, love performance cars, or love Lotus, feel free to leave me a comment. If you enjoyed our video, please give it a like.